Well, good morning and welcome to this session on with a focus on Warsaw, part of our series looking at financial centres across the world. I'm delighted to welcome Dr. Paweł Wadowski, President of the Fintech Poland Foundation, to be with us today and to share his knowledge and thoughts about Warsaw and Poland with you. I'll start off by just thanking our sponsors. We're very lucky at the FS Club to have a number of sponsors who help us run the series of webinars that we put out, which range quite widely over finance, economics, technology, science, and we really are grateful for their continued support. Just by way of introduction, my name's Mike Wardle. I'm the CEO at CN Group. My job this morning is really to give a very short introduction, get out of the way, so that we can hear from Paweł, and then to moderate the Q&A session towards the end. So we have about a 20-minute presentation from Paweł, plenty of time for Q&A towards the end. And by way of housekeeping, if you haven't used GoToWebinar before, the way that you can ask a question is to go to the question tab in the dashboard on your screen, type the question in, and I'll be able to see those and I'll read them out as we go to the Q&A session. And you can put a question in at any point during the session. The session is being recorded today, just so we're all clear about that, and the recording will be available on our website in around 2 days' time. In case you want to go back and watch, or you have friends that you'd like to recommend the session to, so that option is there for you. And finally, just by way of housekeeping, you do ask a question during the session. We will pass contact details on to Paweł afterwards, so that if there's a need for further correspondence or clarification, that can take place. I have nothing further to do by way of my introduction. So really, my job is to hand over to Paweł Wadowski, President of the Fintech Poland Foundation. Paweł, it's a real pleasure to have you with us, and we're looking forward very much to your presentation. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mike, very much. It's my pleasure actually to be here today. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for invitation for this unique format. As Mike said, my name is Paweł Wadowski, and today I will present Poland and specifically its capital Warsaw as a financial center. I am president of Fintech Poland, but today I represent Future Finance Poland, which is newly established private-public initiative focused on long-term development of the Polish financial center. I feel that this presentation is long overdue. After all, we have been building our financial sector for a very long time, since actually fall of the communism in 1989. And Warsaw has been listed in the Global Financial Centers Index since 2007, so probably from the beginning of this index. I really believe that we have a potential to rise higher in the ranking, and today you will learn actually why, because I really believe that we have really strong assets on our side. My presentation, as you can see, will be divided into 4 parts. I will start from providing you with some statistics on Poland. This will give you a better understanding of the country size, population, economy, maybe some history that will explain you why actually we need a financial center in Poland. Next, I will focus on main strengths of Poland and Polish financial sector. I will elaborate about its shape, its subsectors, and major advantages as well. In the next step, I will describe three selected areas of expertise. So, just as example, the areas in which we feel really strong in Poland, in our Polish financial sector. And finally, I will let you know a bit about Future Finance Poland initiative and its role in development of a Polish financial center in long run. So maybe without any further ado, let me focus. Next slide, please. Let me focus on Poland, and as before, I will focus on Warsaw. I should draw a general context for you to elaborate a bit about Poland and its economy. Poland, with a population of over 40 million people today, also due to the war in Ukraine, a wave of migration, is the largest country and economy in Central and Eastern Europe. We are located at the heart of Europe, but at the same time at the border of European Union, which gives us very strategic location in many dimensions, but it's really positive for trade. And over the last 30 years, Poland has achieved extraordinary economic success. And during this time, it has managed to triple the value of its economy and recorded one of the highest growth rates among countries globally. As I mentioned, Poland has been a member of European Union since 2004, and today we are the sixth largest country in the community, and we benefit fully from the single market, and specifically in this context from the single market of financial services. As you know, in European Union, once you have a license in one member state, you can operate across the whole community really freely. The Polish economy is really well diversified and resilient to shocks like COVID, like financial crisis. We also have a strong labor market with one of the lowest unemployment rates in European Union. What is worth mentioning is the fact that due to geopolitical tensions, Poland stands out as a prime beneficiary of relocation or shortening of supply chain. So it's quite important for trade, it's quite important for our economic position, but also important for our financial center at the end. And last information, we, as a first amongst the Central and Europe countries, were classified as a developed market. So we are no more anymore emerging market. We are a developed market, which happened in 2018. Next slide, please. So let me now elaborate a bit about the Polish financial sector and main advantages of Poland. Next slide. I will tackle the areas like quality of life, quality of human resources. I will elaborate a bit about our infrastructure, transport, and digital infrastructure as well. But first, let me focus on Polish financial sector as a whole. Next slide, please. So actually in this slide, I would like to tell you that thanks to the lack of legacy, as we have started developing our financial sector more than 30 years ago, and actually we have started from scratch. And thanks to the high entrepreneurial flexibility, it was possible to build a financial sector which is secure and resilient, and at the same time very technologically advanced. Interestingly, this technological advancement, this positive open approach to innovation, is not only characteristic to fintechs, but fintechs are an important part of our economy, of our financial center, because there are 350 of them, but still a huge part of innovations is located in banking sector. And this is reflected in Digital Banking Maturity Index, in which we are 6th globally. But at the end, consumer is the most important, and definitely this technological advancement reflects the high quality of products, high quality of financial services that Polish consumer have access to. We also have a very high level of financial inclusion, and both in the area of payments, and actually all the population have access to banking sector. Next slide, please. Well, at the same time, Polish financial sector is really well diversified and comprehensive, as you can see, in all key subsectors in financial sector, in banking sector, insurance, capital market, fintechs, and private equity or venture capital. We have a strong position in our region, in Central and Eastern Europe, and Polish financial institutions play a key role in this area. Banking sector definitely is the largest and most developed part of Polish financial sector, and currently it's dominated by domestic players. But at the same time, the presence of international banks in Polish market is also strong. Banking sector is well capitalized, resilient, and play a key role in financing Polish economy. It's resilient and modern, but it's relatively small in comparison to the size of economy. So there is still a gap to fill, gap to expansion, gap to make a progress in this field. If we look at the capital market, Warsaw is a home of Warsaw Stock Exchange, which is Polish largest stock exchange, at the same time largest stock exchange in CE, with more than 800 listed companies, including foreign companies like Ukrainians. Warsaw Stock Exchange has a really ambitious growth agenda for the next couple of years, which is reflected in its strategy. What is worth noting is the fact that we have 50% share of European IPO market. At the same time, we have 50% share of equity trading in our region, and even higher share in derivatives trading. The message I would like to send through this slide is the fact that Polish financial center is expanding in many directions in parallel. So on the one hand, it serves and finance rapidly growing Polish economy, but also we are becoming a financial center of regional, European, or even global importance, as we have really strong presence of international financial institutions that decided to set up here in Poland its vital operations. And I will refer to it later. It's worth to say that Polish financial sector is supervised by Polish Financial Services Authority, which has a very strong fintech agenda, including innovation hub, including a number of sandboxes where you can test technologies like blockchain or open banking. Next slide, please. In terms of fintech, on this slide you can see the map of Polish fintech. We publish this map every year, and we can say that this graphical representation of Polish fintech market. The market is growing very fast, as this year we have identified 350 companies The market is really well diversified, as you can see, with little domination of payments. Payments is one of our area of expertise. We have more than 250 payment services providers with license, with Polish license. So this is important part of our fintech ecosystem, but also important part of whole financial sector with really strong innovation agenda. And I will refer to payments a bit later as well. It's worth to see that software providers for financial services also represent important part of Polish fintech ecosystem. And traditionally, Polish companies in fintech space were focused primarily on Polish market, which is relatively big, but not big enough to sustainable growth, sustainable expansion. Therefore, we see this year or in recent years growing readiness of Polish fintechs for expansion. According to our survey, already 40% of Polish fintech companies have foreign presence and ready for expansion, not only to European Union countries, but also to Asia or United States. Next slide, please. What truly sets Poland apart is its incredible human capital. We have the biggest talent pool in Central and Eastern Europe, and we are ranked as a 6th in the Human Capital Index within European Union. We have really great IT experts, programmers, and what's even more important, Poles have impressive ability to reskill and redeploy as new technologies demand new skills and new capabilities. So definitely this area is very, very strong asset of Poland, but also of Polish financial sector, as many talents decide to work in Warsaw, but also in other Polish cities when financial operations are in place. Next slide, please. Due to our geographic location, it would be tough not to mention about infrastructure, which is really much connected with connectivity, which is important from the perspective of financial center. Poland is not just a hub of financial services or human capital. We are also geographically pivotal, just at the center of Europe, with great connections to Asia, with proximity to Asia, and definitely with our newly built transport infrastructure and excellent network of air routes, the level of connectivity of Poland and Polish financial center should be considered as a high. In the background, you can see the picture of newly built airport, Solidarity Transportation Hub, which will be one of the biggest in Europe. Next slide, please. Well, but even more important from the perspective of financial centers is digital infrastructure, including financial infrastructure like payments and infrastructure of financial market. And in this space, we also have really strong assets. We have developed really modern wholesale and retail payment infrastructure, including 2 instant payment schemes, which compete with each other. We have a really dense card payment acceptance network that we have developed in recent years. I will come back to this later. So actually in Poland, you can pay by card just everywhere. And in this respect, the level of financial inclusion is really high. Referring to other kinds of digital infrastructure, it's worth noting that we are important node in the global ecosystem of cloud computing in cloud infrastructure. Google and Microsoft decided to invest in regional cloud clusters, which opens the door to facilitate growth in other sectors like in AI, in metaverse, in general in financial services. So we consider this piece of infrastructure as a really vital, very important for future development of financial services. On this slide, you can also see the logotype of one of the semiconductors, manufacturer, Intel, which decided recently to set up here in Poland assembly and test facility, which is important, of course, for every country, but being a part of supply chain of semiconductors, locate us in the elite markets, and we are really proud of it. At the same time, Intel has the biggest R&D center in Gdańsk, so it might be important from the perspective of financial center in Poland. Next slide, please. Quality of life always matters, and in this area we have made a really impressive progress over the last years. And now we are ranked as especially big cities like Warsaw, Gdańsk, Kraków, Wrocław, Poznań. We have a really high level of personal safety. We have a really good relation to Poland is the first best country to live in terms of cost of living in the European Union, so it's relatively cheap. And really, from my personal perspective, believe me that Warsaw is a really good place to live, to work, and to develop. Next slide, please. So now maybe let me focus on selected areas of expertise. So the areas in which we feel really strong. So maybe let's start from business and technology. Next slide, please. Business and technology centers. Poland is a global business and services hub. We are one of the leading markets of knowledge-intensive business services in both EMEA and even globally. This sector employs more than 400,000 people and generates more than 6% of Polish GDP as a whole. But at least 20% of this sector are business services for financial institutions. And on the right hand side of the slide, you can see logotypes of international financial institutions that decided to set up here in Poland its operation. Mostly there are global investment banks, payment institutions, payment schemes, and the categories of processes or business functions that are performed by those centers are really, really broad, from risk and compliance, corporate payments, payment processing, cash management, KYC, very important function, to asset management even. There are a number of R&D centers at the same time. So we, over time, because it's a not new sector in Poland, but over time, the kind of operations that are performed in these hubs, in these clusters, are becoming more sophisticated, more human intensive, and today there are more middle office services than back office. And this part of Polish financial sector, I say Polish because it's not only Warsaw. As you can see, Kraków is very strong, Wrocław, Poznań, Gdańsk, and this sector makes us really important link in global financial sector. You can find here in Warsaw global cybersecurity centers, global ML centers, global R&D centers of different kind of financial institution or technology companies that serves for financial services industry. So we are really proud of this part of our economy, this proud of our financial center, and it's worth to mention that more than 200 companies from the Fortune 500 decided to trust us and set up here its operation. Next slide, please. Another area which I would like to focus on are payments. So I was referring to payments, I was mentioning about payments before, but this subsector is really vital. Especially because over the last several years we have made a really huge progress. We have leaped from the cash-driven economy into cashless, almost cashless economy, exceeding European average. So today, Poland is a place where you can pay cashless almost everywhere. We have really well developed e-commerce sector as well. On the right side hand of this slide, you can see the logotype of the organization, which is called Cashless Poland, Polska Bezgotówkowa. And this organization was set up several years ago as a private-public initiative, which had really clear aim to increase the level of the number of POS terminals in Poland, as the network of acceptance of payment card was really poor 5 or 6 years ago. And after this period, today we have we have really dense infrastructure, and this initiative helped us to be one of the most advanced countries in Europe in the space of payments. But next slide, please. We are not talking only about cards. We have also developed our own national mobile payment scheme, which is called BLIK. It is a banking joint venture, and today it's a leading online payments provider and most popular method of payment in Poland. So this is really great success with first foreign acquisitions in Slovakia, with really brave plans for expansion across Europe or even broader. On the right-hand side, you can see another example of payment innovation from Poland, which is PayEye fintech, and it is a biometric solution which also expands to other countries, including United States. Next slide, please. Another area which I would like to mention is digital ID. This space is really interesting in Poland, as today we have a whole spectrum of products and services and solutions in this unique field. Interestingly, those solutions are built by fintechs, by banks, but also by public administration. On the right-hand side, you can see the governmental application solution and citizen and obyvatel, which allows you to identify yourself online and offline as well. And we witness a really significant growth of users of digital ID solutions in Poland, and today more than 10 million Polish citizens use different kind of digital ID solutions. So this is really important for financial sector, financial market, but this is also important for the whole digital economy in Poland. Next slide, please. And the last area that today I would like to shed some light is credit innovation. Also in this area, which is in the intersection of payments, e-commerce and digital finance, we can find a number of very interesting solutions which serves for customers and which increase the efficiency of e-commerce in Poland. So as I mentioned before, e-commerce platforms in Poland are really well developed. We also have really great logistics connected with e-commerce. So definitely the area of retail innovations in finance is one of the strongest points of whole Polish financial center, which is a bit decentralized as it's not only Warsaw. You can find really great companies and great capabilities and great talents in other Polish cities. Next slide, please. So as a next slide, please. And at the end, I would like to elaborate about the future of Polish financial sector, as we have been building our financial sector from more than 30 years, and today we are in inflection point. We are due to the many reasons, due to our maturity, due to the geopolitical reality. We need to create new approach to the future of Polish financial sector, and therefore this year new initiative Future Finance Poland was launched as a public-private program or project. We have a vision. We want to reinforce Poland's position as a next generation financial center with global reach. And we have designed a strategy which is based on two pillars: central functions and areas of expertise. Next slide, please. We have identified the number of central functions, so the services that our initiative will be performing for our members and the whole market. Activities like regulatory dialogue, educational dialogue, international promotion, but also acceleration of innovation of analytical functions. We believe that we have to do some effort to collectively increase or level up the position of Warsaw in Global Financial Centers Index. And next slide, please. The second pillar of our strategy are areas of expertise. So after the long consideration with our consultants, including MasterCard advisors and Accenture, we decided to identify a number of areas of expertise of the future of the Polish financial sector, those in which we feel strong today, like payments, like credit innovations, like business and tech services for financial sector, but also there are emerging areas of expertise in which we aspire to be strong, like digital assets and blockchain, like data management and artificial intelligence, or green finance and ECG. So we have a framework, we have a strategy, we have a clear vision for the future, and we believe that within the next 4 or 5 years, our position in global index of financial centers will be much better, and will be in the league of most competitive financial centers in the world. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Paweł, for that oversight and look over developments. I was particularly interested, of course, in you starting afresh, leapfrogging, as it were, some of the developments in established financial centres and being able to start afresh. I've got a question from Igor Newandowski, who asks, it's interesting given your last slide, he just asking how prevalent and important is green finance currently in Poland, and whether you share your insights on future developments and where the field of green finance is heading in Poland.
Yeah, thank you very much for this question. As you saw on the last slide, actually, ECG and green finance, sustainable finance is one of the areas of expertise of the future of Polish Financial Center. Probably we are not the only one, because probably all financial centers pay attention to this area. We especially in Poland, this topic is important due to our challenges related to energy, to sustainable economy, and energy transformation. We recently, last year, Polish Ministry of Finance decided to set up a forum for sustainable finance, which is a platform for designing the future of the Polish ECG, a sustainable finance area. And this is a platform of collaboration between private and public sector players. And we believe that the work that will be done in this forum will level up Poland as an ECG hub. It's worth to know that Poland issued green bonds as one of the first country in the world. So we have our achievement in this field, and definitely both in terms of technology, but also in the way how we will be going to implement European Union ECG regulation. We want to be a leader, and definitely we believe that this can be our area of expertise in the future.
Well, thank you very much. And as you know, we also track green finance in financial centres, so we'll be watching Poland carefully going forward. Just a question, you talked quite a lot about the strength of banking in Poland and the strength of payment system, fintech. How are the sort of fintech world and the banking world working together or collaborating at the moment?
Good question. Actually, as we see high level of collaboration between banks and fintechs, and if you look at the the biggest banks in Poland, all of them actually have its innovation program, acceleration program, and way how to collaborate with fintechs. So if you look at the PKO BP, they have Let's Fintech program really broad and deep. PKO SA has its innovation laboratory, which is also very interesting fintech agenda, as well as international banks like BNP Paribas. I should also mention Polish bank Alior with really nice setup for collaboration. Also Polish insurer PZU, the biggest one here in Poland, but also in CE, has its innovation program. It happens that Polish banks collectively decide to invest in specific venture, or Polish bank decide to build venture as a joint venture. It was a case of the BIG. But collaboration between banks and fintechs is rather positive. And I believe that Fintech Poland as a platform also facilitate this process.
Thank you very much. Just to notice, because we have a question here, or a couple of linked questions on sort of payments, which is obviously a big part of the fintech ecosystem in Poland, but also very much cashless payment being used by a very high proportion of population. So the two questions. First of all, is is competition between the payments providers going to lead to some consolidation of companies, so a smaller number of companies over time? But secondly, is there thoughts about developing a central bank digital currency in Poland? Because the level of reach of cashless payment would make that seem a logical next step.
In terms of consolidation, payments are a really broad area, so there are subsectors, and probably we should consider specific areas to assess whether there is a space for consolidation or not. Probably you're asking about acquiring market, which is really competitive. Of course, there is always a space for consolidation, but for now, at least, I don't see such a initiative, such a consolidation projects. I see acquisitions recently. Polish leading acquire. So actually, a part of international PayU was acquired by another company, but we are not talking about consolidation. So I believe even without consolidation, the market will remain very competitive, and which is good for consumers and merchants as well. Regarding CBDC, it's a tough one, as we are all aware of the importance of CBDC here in Europe, and we have a specific legal framework for European CBDC as a draft law still, but European Commission, European Central Bank put a lot of attention to this new phenomenon. In terms of Polish National Bank, our national bank, our central bank, is more focused on research and analysis on CBDC. So as far as I know, there are no testing, no advanced developments. They are still wait and see. Maybe it's a good strategy. We will see.
Well, thank you very much. We've come to the end of our time, I'm afraid. We could have gone on with the discussion, and we may well invite you back on another occasion to talk about further developments as Poland continues to make its progress. So just for me, a few last thanks. First of all, thanks again to our sponsors. It's fantastic that we're able to run these series of webinars and keep people in touch across the world about what's happening, and we've had people in the audience today from as far away as Japan, so we really are achieving a global reach. And then just to let you know of what's coming up, on Thursday, Shaping Apex Decision Making in Government should be a fascinating session, and looking on Monday at sustainable finance and moving from promises to action within the finance industry. Next Wednesday, a session on managing critical events. So plenty coming up, and do keep an eye on the website for forthcoming events. And finally, just to say, Pavel, thank you so much for coming along today and sharing great insights into the development of Poland as an economy, as well as the financial sector, and the developments in that sense. It is very exciting to hear from you and to watch what's going on in Poland, and we very much look forward to your continued success. But thank you very much again for this morning.
Thank you very much. It is my pleasure. Thank you.
And to the audience, thank you very much. We'll see you again very shortly. Thank you.